everyone, and welcome back to my minimalist journey. This is going to be episode 2, and I hope to help some of you who are thinking about going on this journey or entering this lifestyle. This is a no judgment zone, so if you like your stuff and if this is not for you, then all the power to you, okay? I just want to share my experience and my story with everyone. So today I want to talk about how decluttering can be healing. And I'll explain what that means and how it worked for me, and maybe you can take something away from this, okay? Let me know. So basically, the weekend that I started to declutter or thought about completely decluttering and made this change in my mind and wanted to make a physical change around me, I just didn't mindlessly take all my stuff that I had and just got rid of it, threw it out or donated or stuff like that. Nor did I pick up every single item and looked at it and kind of asked myself if it added value and how much, or if I have used it in a certain amount of time or something like that. I'm sure that way works for many people, but it just didn't seem like the right way for me personally. So what I did do was I had so much stuff around me. I sat down and I basically looked at all the ways I was hoarding stuff, and not so much so hoarding because a lot of it was organized, but I looked at the type of stuff that I had and I put it into different categories, right? Because I felt like it somehow framed my lifestyle at the point. So, what do I have a lot of? I have a lot of books. I have a lot of DIY crafty stuff. I have a lot of beauty products. I have a lot of filming type of lighting, camera, whatever stuff, right? So I put it in different categories. I had a lot of spiritual, new age, whatever you want to call it, crystal, tarot cards, whatever. It's fun stuff, okay? So I had a lot of that. So I put it in different categories, okay? And this might be a little challenging for some of you, but the next thing that I did was and this was difficult for me as well, okay? So I personally just looked at each category and I asked myself why I am kind of holding on to so much stuff from this category, right? And a lot of it was probably deeply seated issues that I had to work on, and it was interesting the way it all came forward to me, and it showed me where I can grow as a person and what I needed to let go of, right? So books were a way of escapism for me for a long time. When I was unhappy and stuff like that, I could just go into a book and it was just I can get lost in a different world, different time, and it was just it was so beautiful for me, that whole the experience that I just held on to it when I really loved a book, right? And then when you read so much, there are so many wonderful books, so you hold on to a lot of them. That was one reason. Another reason was because, I'm Indian, and at least in my family, in my culture, right, there's a lot of competition when it comes to academia. So, and I was always the more creative child, and not super studious. I like to read, but I wasn't into education as much, shall I say. I had different ways of expressing myself, but because of this, I was always looked at as that girl who dances well, that girl who can do neat things with arts and crafts, the girl who paints well, draws well. But I guess in the childhood, because academia is valued very highly in my culture, my siblings always were top of the class, doing really well, getting the best grades in report cards, so from that point on I felt I'm guessing if I read more, and I, got smarter, and that somehow would just change people's perspective on me. Like when that clicked, I was like, oh my God, that is so stupid. Because I read a lot of things, and now I just do it because of the love of it. I love learning. It helps me like grow as a person, and it's just like I dive deep into subjects once I start learning about them. So that was, I was like, okay, that was like very eye opening for me, right? Then I had lots of like memorabilia, like a lot of tchotchkes from like travel and stuff that because I love traveling, and that also was because growing up I didn't have much, right? And I wanted to it somehow showed that if I had all these things, like collection of stuff that I got from like all these places I had visited, it almost like it gave me kind of like peace of mind that, wow, like I have come this far, like I can do this, I've done this, like I've been to these places, where in reality I came to realize I don't really need the stuff. Like I can, like, I don't know, like, I can remember, I have great memories, so I don't really need the little tchotchkes that I collected. And then I slowly started thinking about like all my trips, right? And then I remember, when I leave for my, adventures, I pack really well and I'm so organized. And by the time I come back, I'm exhausted and my suitcase is filled with crap that I've collected. I used to keep like everything, like menus or receipts from like the restaurants I visited, or like any kind, I don't know, any type of memorabilia that I can like hold on to. I would bring back with me, and then like my bag wouldn't be able to fit all that stuff. And then for like the week or two after I came back from my trip, I would have like stuff laid around everywhere because I was just like, I would have to get back to work the next day or something like that. So it created a mess, and then like all that stuff just ended up being like locked away somewhere, and I never really eat so much stuff, like I never really get to enjoy it, right? So, and then I also wanted to like share stories about the places I've been, and like restaurants that I find, like vegan food that I find on my blog. And that was such a goal for me for such a long time. And I was like, you know what, I can do that instead of collecting all this crap, because I bring back all this crap with me, and then for the next 2 weeks I have to find a way to organize it and put it away. I could spend that much time in writing a blog, and that's a way of keeping a memory for me and helping people. So I decided to do that, and that's how I was able to let all that crap go. And then stuff that people had gotten me, like I just took pictures of, because I don't know, it's just precious. I feel like when somebody brings you something, it's like they thought of you in that moment. So yeah, that's that. Then I also had lots and lots of like different lighting and stuff like that for like my videos that I had like collected over time. And I got to realize that maybe it's just not meant to be. And that was very difficult, because this is something that I've been consistent about for a very long time, because I have a different way. I've always loved beauty products, since I was young. And then I was like, let's get to the root of this, right? And that was very easy. That was very simple. Growing up, I have always been the girl with like medium brown skin tone, right? I've had curly, unruly, dry, crazy hair. I've broken out as a child a lot, and I have an older sister who's incredibly beautiful. She has like baby soft skin still, like straight hair. She never has to use any products or anything. And like we had a lot of comparisons between us when we were kids, and a lot of the stuff like just stuck in there, and I remembered it, and I was just like, I found products to be a way for me to like sort of beautify myself, like when you were like in your teens and stuff, like that's all you can think of. So I was like, you know what, I got this. I'm older now, I'm more confident, I'm more comfortable, and my taste has refined over time, so I don't really need all this stuff, right? And then I decided, and then after that, I was like, I had also wanted to talk about like natural, non-toxic, good for you products, right? And I was like, this is something that I don't see much of on YouTube, so I wanted to bring that to people, right? And I wanted to let people know that you can find effective products that are not harming you at the same time. But YouTube is a tough game when it comes to beauty, right? And it just wasn't meant to be, and I had to accept that, right? Because what happens is that you go deeper and deeper and deeper into this, and you're like, no, just reviewing one more product, I need to let people know about one more thing, and before you know it, like, you are spending your own money, and nobody really cares what you have to say. And again, at least for my perspective, right? That was a very hard thing for me to accept, but I did, and I was like, what else? And again, like, I feel like if I find some amazing product that is great, and ethical and clean, I can always blog about it, and those who are interested will find it there, right? This is a whole other video that I'll make regarding getting sucked into the world of YouTube. Anyway, so that was something that I was like, you know what? Every evening I would come home and I had all this stuff around me, all this like stuff to film, but I was just so exhausted and I could never be consistent with it, right? So I was like, maybe it's just not important to me, and maybe I start focusing on myself, and then someday in the future, later, I can try to help others, and spread the word about good products and meaningful products. So I decided to let it go. So this is how I was able to like get to the bottom of my stuff, and this is how decluttering was healing. Like, as I realized why I was hoarding so much of this particular category, I was slowly able to let each thing go. Like, I acknowledged it, I saw where it came from, and clearly it's not like I worked out all the problems in my head, right? Like, when you have issues, you have issues. When but at least acknowledging it helped me, right? And now I understand things about me a little better, I think. I had like a lot of like new age crystals and stuff. Like, I think it's pretty, first of all. Like, I think it's nice decor. I don't know if it works or not, but again, a lot of the stuff like that, so many people are starting to like get into nowadays, right? Where it comes to like finding alternative ways to like heal themselves, work on themselves, like get in touch with their intuition and stuff like that. And as I looked at all this stuff, I was like, well, honestly, I don't really need it. I don't need that. Like, I'm training to be a yoga teacher, so I was like, I can do my yoga, I can meditate, and that will help me center myself. And like, I don't really need to, like, these things to get in touch with my intuition. If I sit for a bit quietly and meditate, I think it'll help me mentally to figure out what I wanted for myself, right? And I feel like the more I'm practicing yoga, the more I'm realizing is that, the energy that you put out is what you get back. So I'm just trying to be a good person as best as I can, and, then let the chips fall where they may, right? So, that's how I was able to let that stuff go, because, again, like, especially if, like with the stuff like, intuition tools, tarot, and stuff like that, I think it's a way of it's like a control thing, right? And I'm a bit of a planner, so like control, right, comes into play. Like, you always need to know what's going to happen, or what will happen, or how something will pan out. It kind of plays on that anxiety that you have. So I don't think it's very helpful over time, or at least that's what I thought about. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not dissing anybody, just personal experience. And if it works for people, it works for people, right? So yeah, so that is how I found decluttering very, very, very healing. And I hope this video was helpful. And let me know. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys again next episode. Let me know if you have any questions. Bye.